Coming up on Marriage Today with Jimmy and Karen.
So I start walking across the room, and I'm going to be affectionate. And she sees me coming. You know, it's like pervert alert. You know, incoming. But so I sat down next to her, put my arm around her, you know, and just kind of patted her there for just a minute. And you know, of course, she knew something, you know, either wrestling, sex, or a combination of the two were impending at that moment. But I didn't, and I just kind of patted her there for a minute, you know, and then I got up and walked across the room. She said, "Well, what did you do?" I said, "Well, I'm being affectionate." She said, "I like that." I thought, well, now I've spoiled her. And here are the 4 needs of a woman and how to understand and meet her needs. And the first is security. It says, husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her. The standard for women is respect your husband the way you would Jesus. The standard for men is give your life for her. Just like Jesus gave his life for you, you love her more than you love yourself. You sacrifice yourself for her. The mega need for men is honor. The mega need for women is security. So women feel most secure in an environment where there is a sacrificial, sensitive man that they're married to. Women feel most insecure when they're married to a selfish, detached man. Security to a woman just simply means, to my hurt, I will meet your needs. I come second. I'm not the head of this home, so I can get it my way, and I get the big chair and the clicker in the living room. I'm the head of this home so that I can serve you and make sure whatever you need, you get it first before I get it. You come before me. And you'll never have to nag. You'll never have to beg. Tell me once. I'm studying you. You're on my heart. Tell me once and you'll get it. And if I don't agree, I'll tell you right up front. But if I tell you no, it's only because it's not a good thing for you. But I will sacrifice to meet your needs. Women are in heaven. Women are in heaven. They need security. Here's how to meet your wife's need for security. Communicate your commitment to sacrifice for her. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. He gave himself for her. I will have to sacrifice something. I'll have to sacrifice an interest, a hobby, a friend, an event, an opportunity, a promotion. I don't know what I'm going to have to sacrifice. But here's the issue. Nothing is as important to me as you are, and I will sacrifice to make sure that your needs are met. Just the way Jesus sacrificed for me, I'm going to sacrifice for you. The second is be sensitive to your wife's needs, and don't make her nag or beg. Never, ever should your wife have to nag or beg. Romance, when you send your wife flowers or cards or you're romantic to your wife, what you're saying to your wife is you're on my heart. The lack of romance simply means I don't think about you. You're not on my heart. My uncle now, this is, I did my uncle's funeral, this is years ago. And my uncle and my aunt were married for 40 years, had a wonderful marriage. I did my uncle's funeral, and when I was doing his eulogy, my aunt told me that for 40 years of marriage, he wrote her a new poem every day. Let me just tell you something. There's only so many ways you can work around roses are red, violet, you know. Think about that for just a minute. Every day for 40 years. And they had, I never even thought about it. They had a wonderful marriage. She was the happiest woman on earth. I said, are you kidding me? She said, on our dining room table every morning, there was a new poem that he wrote me. You know what that means? When he was alone every morning, he was thinking about her. As opposed to a man who's never romantic. And it just means my mind is somewhere else. And so I'm sensitive to you. Be a faithful provider and a faithful money manager, because that's another part of her security, is knowing that she's going to be provided for. And let me say this, whatever job you have, some of the most important people in society are not well paid. Teachers, policemen deserve a lot more money than they get. And the issue, give them a hand. And the issue isn't the size of the paycheck. The issue is the size of the commitment, which just simply means I'm going to provide for this home, and I'm going to make sure that I lead in the financial management of the home. And I'll talk about that more in just a minute. Number 2 need for a woman is soft non-sexual affection. Is, again, women need this. And the more non-sexual soft affection they get, the more sexual they become, which is an amazing thing. And so you need to be physically affectionate with your wife. You need to listen to her when she's telling you she wants to be held, and be patient and gentle. And what it communicates to her is she's more to you than just a sex object. That, again, you're connected on a higher level than just sex. And to her, that's connection. When you're holding her hand, your arm is around her. I had one couple that he only touched her sexually. And she said, outside the bedroom, he's never touched me. You know, he never held my hand, never put his arm around me. And there was a tremendous amount of anger and frustration there. I grew up with I have two older brothers, Damien and Lucifer. And we fought every day. My parents were not affectionate people. I had wonderful parents. They were not affectionate people. And my brothers and I was the youngest of three boys. We fought every day. I mean, I just lived in a war zone. And I didn't know how to be affectionate. Karen and I started dating, and I knew how to be rough or sexual. I didn't know how to be affectionate. We started dating, and I just didn't know how to be affectionate. Karen wanted me to be affectionate. When I held her hand, I pinched around on it. And I like that. It feels good. I like that thing. She didn't like that at all. She'd say, that hurts. And I said, you'll toughen up. You know, don't let my brothers beat you up 2 or 3 times. You'll get used to it. And then I get nervous. You know, I just didn't know how to be affectionate. And so I put my arm around her and I put her in a headlock. You know, and she'd say, I don't like that. I don't like that. Don't do that. And again, I thought, you'll get used to it. Well, she never got used to it. So we were married, and she was sitting across the room one day folding clothes, and the Lord just impressed on me, walk over and put your arm around her, and just nothing beyond that. Just put your arm around her. Well, I'd never done that before. I mean, boy, I was so nervous, you know. So she's over there folding clothes. We're sitting in the room. So I start walking across the room, and I'm going to be affectionate. And she sees me coming. You know, it's like pervert alert, you know. Incoming. But so I sat down next to her, put my arm around her, you know, and just kind of patted her there for just a minute. And you know, of course, she knew something, you know, either wrestling, sex, or a combination of the two were impending at that moment. But I didn't. And I just kind of patted her there for a minute, you know, and then I got up and walked across the room. She said, well, what did you do? I said, well, I'm being affectionate. She said, I like that. I thought, well, now I've spoiled her. And so we got in the car one day, and I said, let me hold your hand. I was getting better at being affectionate. I said, let me hold your hand. She said, no, because she didn't trust me, you know, because I pinched her around. I said, let me hold your hand. And she said, no. And I said, let me hold your hand. She said, it just healed up. But I remember I held her hand and I didn't pinch it. And I just thought, that's, you know, phenomenal. And so I learned to be affectionate with Karen, and it changed everything. I mean, and that's normal for me. I mean, I love it. But your wife needs non-sexual touching and affection. And some men would say, well, that's just not the way that I am. Doesn't matter. You need to change. You need to meet her need. It wasn't natural for me. I wasn't raised in that kind of a family, and it's not a need that I have. It's not a need that I have, but it's a need that she had. And so when I changed, it changed our marriage. It was tremendously important to her. Number 3 need that women have is open and honest communication. Is women don't want headlines. They don't want grunts and groans. They don't want to hear nothing. Who'd you see today? Nothing. No one. What'd you do? Nothing. I drove to work, stood in front of a blank wall, and told everybody to be quiet. And I drove directly home. I have spoken to no one today. Is when your wife, she wants this again. This is how she connects to your world, is through communication, and to your heart. And so, when your wife says to you, "What did you do today?" Here's the answer she wants. You want to say, "I didn't do much. I didn't do much. No, I saw Bob, and Bob is the same as Bob has always been." Okay. She says, "How was your day?" Here's what she wants to hear. 6:32 a.m. I came into consciousness. I still had my eyes closed, but I was feeling a little emotional about my meeting with Bob. And she wants the whole day. And she doesn't just want the event, she wants the feelings. The feelings associated. See, I would talk to Karen for years, and I'd tell her something. She'd say, well, how'd you feel about that? And I'd say, feel? How'd you feel? I don't feel anything, you know. And, well, men come emotionally unassembled, and women wire them up, you know. And that's how they do it. They get you talking, then they start saying, this is a feeling. Zzz. See right there, zzz, that's a feeling. And you're going to have more of those as more conversations take place. And so again, I told Karen wanted me to talk. And I felt like she was nosy anyway. And I thought, I'm not feeding the monster. Information is the worst thing for her. You got to starve that thing out of her because she knows it. She wants to know about everything. So that's honestly the way I felt about it. And I'd come in the door and she started asking questions, just like, ha. So I told Karen, when I changed, I said, okay, I'll talk. Okay. So I told her one night, I said, we'll sit down and we'll talk for as long as you want to talk about anything you want to talk about. And I thought, I am the greatest man ever lived. And B, they'll find me dead tomorrow with my brain sucked out. Because the sister will suck my brain right out my ear. I don't stand a chance. So we got together that night, and we sat face to face, turned off the TV, we sat face to face, and we talked. And Karen, she had never done this before. I had never patiently talked to my wife ever in our marriage and given her the response that she was looking for. So we started talking, and Karen, this and this and this and this and this and this. And she asked, what about this, what about this, what about this? And she would say, well, how'd you feel about that? Well, there's a couple of things in my childhood she knew about, and she always wanted to know, because she knew I was messed up, And she was just trying to locate the exact time and place, but she pretty much knew that. So she asked her, well, how'd you feel about that? I didn't know. Honestly, when I was growing up, I just shut off emotions because I couldn't handle them. Some of the things that happened, just like all of us, I just didn't know, so I just shut them off. Well, Karen knew that those things were still in there because women are amazing in this regard. They really are. And Karen would say, well, how'd you feel about that? And I said, Karen, honestly, I didn't feel anything about that. She said, yes, you did. You don't know what I feel. And so it was amazing because about a week or two later, I was praying, and the Lord brought it all back to me and began healing my life in that area. And Karen has been amazing with me because I love to talk now. I love talking to Karen. It's one of the favorite things I love to do. Your wife needs for you to talk. And you say, well, I'm just not as verbal as she is. Yeah, you are. It's just an attitude. You can talk as much as you want to talk. If you're with your friends at a basketball game, you talk their ear off. You talk her ear off. You tell her what she wants to know with a good attitude. And you open your heart up to her. She deserves that. It's the way she connects to your world. We don't meet each other's needs based on our needs or our desires. We meet each other's needs based on their needs in a commitment that we're going to do that for the rest of our lives. You meet each other's needs. Women, be more sexual than you feel. Men, be more conversational than you feel. And you'll have a happy marriage. I'm almost done. Last need of a woman is leadership. Women don't want to be dominated. They want to be treated as equals. But they want their husband to be the loving initiator of the home in 4 important areas: the children, romance, finances, and spiritual matters. They want you to be the loving initiator of the home. Now you say, well, I have more of a passive personality. Especially, you need to stand up and just be the initiator. It means you begin the conversation about your children. You begin the conversations about discipline. You begin the conversations about budgeting. You begin the conversations about church and spirituality and prayer and things like that. Again, she wants to be an equal partner. She doesn't want to be dominated. And if you have a naturally strong kind of a dominant personality, you got to ratchet that down. You got to slow down. You have to make a decision that you're not going to make decisions without her, and you're not going to drag her or push her in the process. That you're going to treat her as an equal partner in everything that goes on, but you are going to be the initiator. Women love to be in a relationship with a man who is the loving initiator. What we have right now in our full Marriage on the Rock seminar is the fullest and most complete and most updated seminar that I've ever done. And it includes the issue now of blended families, the most important issue in marriage, the 4 foundational laws of marriage, how to understand and meet your spouse's needs, finances, sex, in-laws, all of those kinds of things are covered in Marriage on the Rock. Right now, for your gift of any amount to support the ministry and mission of Marriage Today, we go across America and all over the world helping people succeed in marriage and helping little children stay together with their parents, helping people to achieve their dreams and to keep the nightmare of divorce and family problems from happening. And so if you would support us right now, we'll send you a CD single called The Most Important Issue in Marriage. And it is the most important issue in marriage. It's the most important marriage teaching you'll ever hear, I promise, for your gift of any amount. For your gift of $50 or more, we're going to send you the full 10-part audio series, Marriage on the Rock, all the teachings included, with the Marriage on the Rock book also. For your gift of $110, I know some of you, $50 would be a sacrifice for you, $20 would be a sacrifice. Some of you can give $110, and for that, we'll send you the DVD series, all 10 sessions on DVD, plus the Marriage on the Rock book, and plus a bonus book, Happy, Happy Love, which gives you the secrets of how to stay in love. We want you to get these important resources. Here's how you can do it.
Marriage on the Rock, the best-selling book and series, is the essential resource to having the marriage of your dreams. Through this power-packed series, marriage expert Jimmy Evans will show you how to deal with real-life challenges and offer easy-to-understand solutions that will transform your relationship. Jimmy will address all the major issues a couple will encounter, like communication, finances, sex, kids, his and her needs, blended families, and much more. For your gift of any amount, you'll receive the CD single, The Most Important Issue in Marriage. For your gift of $50 or more, we'll send you the Marriage on the Rock book and CD series. For your gift of $110 or more, you'll receive the book and DVD series, plus the Passion Reigniting Happy, Happy Love book. Discover God's design for your dream marriage. Whether you've been married for years or just preparing for the journey, experience Marriage on the Rock today.
Well, this program today is on understanding and meeting your wife's needs. Now, we had another program on a husband's needs, and so, but it goes both ways. You have to have both spouses getting their needs met to have a good marriage. Now, when we got married, Karen, I thought you were a little odd, but I thought I could get you fixed.
Yes.
And what I realized was you were normal.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I loved you, and I thought you were very attractive, and all of that. But I thought, well, this can't be normal because it's not like me. Mm-hmm. But women are different. Mm-hmm. And so I was talking there about the 4 major needs that women have. And now we have some questions from our viewers, and the first one's for you. Mm-hmm. And this woman writes in and says, Karen, how do you get a man to understand that we like to cuddle without it leading somewhere else? What does she mean by that? I don't get that.
Well, that's exactly right. That's why you can't get them to understand that. You say that in the seminar. She's asking, how do I get them to understand? And you're always saying, there's no part of a man's brain that understands that kind of affection. So this is what I tell the woman. Jump in his lap, hug his neck, and say, this is as far as we're going.
That's so cruel. You can drive a man crazy. I mean, literally drive a man crazy like that.
No, it really is. It is hard for a man. And Jimmy was this way. It drove me crazy. And I'd say, honey, stop. And it's just like he couldn't. And so finally, after
That's right, I couldn't.
And so finally, I think it was just after hearing me say it over and over again, and him he realized I really wasn't that odd, and just realizing that it's really something that a woman needs. I mean, it's just so important. One of the reasons he ended up doing it right is because he realized when you actually do have sex, then it's so much better.
Yeah. Well, it is. But the thing is, I was selfish.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about what you needed. Mm-hmm. And when you would say to me, can't you just hold me? I just invalidated it. And I just thought, well, she obviously wants me. I mean, that's what she's trying to say.
I'm just shy about it.
She's just shy about it. So, but what you were saying was what you were saying.
Yeah.
Can't you just hold my hand or put my arm around you? And of course, I didn't have any training for it. But men need to understand that your wife needs non-sexual affection. Now, women need to understand he needs sex. It can't always be non-sexual.
Honey, we know.
No, we know. Okay. So,
okay, here's your question.
All right.
I make good money for my wife and family. Is that what you mean by security?
So this is a man asking the question. So I make money for my wife and family. Well, that's one thing. The number one thing about making a woman feel secure, and by the way, I know a lot of men that make good money and their wives are insecure. Because you can bring home a good paycheck and be faithful about it, but your heart's a million miles away.
That's true.
She could be a sports widow. She could be a work widow. You could have friends or other things that you put in front of her. And the thing, Karen, that men need to understand is a woman always knows where your heart is. And she always knows if it's not with her. Because, there were many times that we were married over the years, that you would confront me and just say, where are you? Because you knew I wasn't.
You're checked out.
I'm checked out, yeah. And I would say, what are you saying? No, I'm just right here, right now.
I'm the responsible one.
Yeah, but I wasn't. And so you want my heart. And that's what I would say to any man. Regardless of the size of your paycheck, and you need to be a faithful worker and a good money manager, when your heart is turned toward your wife, that's what makes her most secure. And by turning your heart toward her, it means you're first. And whatever else I have to do for anyone else, you come first. I'm not going to give you excuses, and I'm not going to give you the last of me, emotionally, mentally, verbally, in any other way. You're first, and to my hurt. See, the Bible says for men to love their wives as Christ loved the church. He gave himself up. And so words are cheap. It always comes down to, what am I willing to give up? What am I willing to sacrifice? I know Jesus loves me because he took my place on the cross, period. He loves me. I know by sacrifice. And the Bible says that's the way we're supposed to love our wives. That type of sacrificial love produces security, period. And that's the mega need that women have.
I agree. Okay, so how do you get your husband to open up because she wants him to talk more and share with her?
Okay, so this is the lady asking how she can get her husband to open up more. Well, I would say the first thing is to tell him, and the second thing is to be careful when he talks. Don't be critical, because men, our mega need is for respect and honor. And so for us to be able to open up, we need to know that it's a safe place. And that means that A, you're respectful and careful, not judgmental or disrespectful, and B, you would never take that outside that room.
Right.
Because men, we're very emotionally modest. And I may share with you that I got in a fetal position and cried and was very insecure, but if you ever shared it, it would devastate me.
Yes.
And so men need to know that I'm with my best friend. You're going to be careful about the information that I share and not jab at the sensitive areas of my life that I'm revealing. And you would never share that outside of our relationship, and you'll never bring it back against me. And because some men shut down and wives get real frustrated, but honestly, they were critical.
Yeah.
They shared it with other people and they used it against him later.
And some men have mothers maybe that were critical. And so every time they did something wrong, the mother was just always on them and controlling and critical. And so it brings about, because I know of a lot of men that are real quiet and they just don't know how to talk. And so for a woman to really know how to bring that out of a man is a special gift that she needs to consider. Maybe there's something in his past that keeps him from talking.
Absolutely. But just remember, our number one need is honor and respect, and we're emotionally modest. We're not, women will talk about just about anything. I mean, but men, we're emotionally modest. But anyway, thank you for the questions. And we're going to be back here in just a minute. We have more questions that we're going to answer. We have a very special group of people that stand with us every month to support marriage today. They're called our Rock Solid Partners. Karen and I are asking you to consider being one of our Rock Solid Partners, and for that you get a special resource that only comes to those who support us every single month. Really, it is the backbone of our ministry. We would love for you to become a Rock Solid Partner. Here's how you can do it.
Marriage. Family. This is the foundation of our society. But this foundation is under attack. Across the country and across the street, marriages are crumbling. Young men and women are questioning the value and purpose of marriage, and children are suffering the heartache of divorce. But regardless of how dark, how difficult it may seem, with the right teaching, the right training, the right commitment, every marriage has a 100% chance of success. Join us by becoming a rock-solid partner today. Together, we can help shape the future of marriage around the world. For $14, $28, or $56 per month, you can get the tools you need to succeed in marriage, including online access to the Dream Marriage Library, CD and DVD lessons shipped to your door, and exclusive partner perks. Become a rock-solid partner today.
Welcome back. We're talking about meeting a wife's needs, and we were talking about communication, Karen, before the break, and we've got another question kind of on that same line.
Yes. I've shared very personal things with my wife that was supposed to be between us, but then she went and told everyone. She thinks nothing is wrong.
Well, and this is from a gentleman in Africa. It is women need their husbands to openly communicate. Okay? It's one of the most important needs that women have. And as we were saying before the break, it's so critical that women respect that environment, that it's sacred. You know, it's the Holy of Holies. And so when a man opens up and talks, we're emotionally modest, and they just have to be very careful. But I want to kind of flip it around and go and talk to the men for just a minute. If you have an attitude about communicating, because some men, it's like, well, see, sexually, a lot of men want their wives just to be hypersexual with a great attitude. But then they have an attitude about communicating. And as I said in the seminar, men need to be more communicative and emotional than they feel. And you say, well, how do you do that? You make a decision. And that decision is, I'm going to communicate with my wife with a good attitude. And it's not based on my needs, it's based on her needs. Now, for that to happen, a wife needs to create an atmosphere where he wants to talk. You're your best friend. Your best friends are non-judgmental. When you share something, they're very careful with it. They don't tell anybody, and they don't use it against you later. And if your husband's going to share, you need to create that environment. But a man has to go in with a commitment that says, this is her need, and I'm going to meet it with a great attitude, just the way I want her to have sex with me.
I agree.
It's a win-win deal.
Well, I think it's a point of trust, too. You know, that's how you build trust, is you keep doing the right thing over and over again, and then before you know it, more and more is revealed, you know, in the heart of a man. The more he knows he can trust his wife, and the more that, you know, the response back is not of shaming and giving grace.
That's
I think it's so important.
Well, this is about understanding and meeting your wife's needs, and if you're a man watching this, single or married, is you just need to know that women are precious and wonderful the way that God has made them, and it's unchangeable. You can either respect it and thrive in marriage, or disrespect it and fail, but you can succeed in marriage. Meet your wife's needs and understand she's different than you. We hope this is helpful. We'll see you again next time right here on Marriage Today. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us today. Support Marriage Today with your best gift and receive the series Marriage on the Rock.
Plan a special getaway for you and your spouse by attending the Becoming One seminar with Jimmy and Karen Evans. Visit marriagetoday.com/events.
And don't forget, become a rock-solid partner and receive the Dream Marriage Library. There's a rock-solid partner level to fit every need.
This program is made possible by the generous support of our faithful partners.